Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Beauty in Black. This is season 2, episode 2. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Hopefully, you checked out episode 1 on my playlist. Hopefully, you are watching the series on Netflix. It's already number 1 for the most watched show, the number 1 watch show for this week. And we're going to get right into it. But first, thank you for coming by. Like this video. You can also subscribe and leave your comments below. Now, let's really get into it. All right. So we begin where we left off in the last episode, where Roy catches Varney coming out of Charles's room. His shirt is undone, and he's asking Roy is asking Varney, "What did I just hear?" And Varney's like, "What? What did I just hear? You heard me, da 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 da." Charles ended up coming out and somewhat saving the day, and Roy ends up leaving. Of course, Varney is very upset. And then he ends up asking Charles, like, "Did you set me up?" And Charles was like, "No." And then, of course, Varney was adamant, like, "Did you really set me up?" And of course, he's still saying no. Varney says, "Let me see your phone." And Charles won't let him see his phone, da 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 da. Since he was adamant, like, "I want to see your phone." And Charles said, "Come and get it." He puts the phone in his underwear as a way to now, I guess, distract him to want to have sex with him so he can not be mad anymore or whatever. Varney said, "Let me find out that you set me up." And Charles said, "What are you going to do?" Exactly. I mean, he had a point there, Varney, because you ain't done nothing as of yet for these people that are disrespecting you. All for a paycheck? Why? So Varney is trying to leave. He goes out to the garage where he parked his car to be out of sight of Horace and all the other folks, the Belleries. He finds out that his tire is flat, and he says, "I know it's that MFer." And Roy comes out of the bushes, basically, and says, "Oh, what did you just say? Were you calling me that?" Roy ends up trying to taunt Varney with what he knows is true, is that Varney and Charles are together, or at least smashing one another. He says, "I was going to tell my father, but leverage is everything." Now, this is what I'm going to say, because I am still ahead, and you may just be watching it. Roy, I think that you are pretty good. I think there's hidden potential in you, and for whatever reason, you won't step up. And it's quite crazy that you just would rather waste your life on drugs and think that you are entitled to shares that you don't even work for, all because you're in the Bellery family line. And don't think that it has not really left my mind that right now the Bellery family line stops with Roy and Charles. Charles ain't having no children unless he wants to, but Charles right now is not in no place to have a child. Roy and Mallory aren't doing anything, so where's the child coming from? And it's shocking that he has not had a child out there with all the women he's been with. So, it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Horace does leave the earth. Norman had no children, so all the legacy really stops with them, as they're trying to be such grabbers of this legacy that they don't even appreciate. They just want the benefits of it. So then Roy says, "I'm not going to," he said, "leverage is everything." And he says that you're about to be my bitch. And he said, "No, not in the way of what you do with Charles." Roy has this homophobic way of you anyways, even as much of a hoe he wants to be. It's quite crazy. He basically demands, Varney, that you better give me my shares and have me protected. And he makes Varney say over and over, "I'm your itch." Because Varney was first saying the low with his dumb tail, because there's no way I'm going. So then Roy was like, "Say it louder. I'm your itch. Say it louder. I'm your itch. I'm your itch." And then Roy said, "Calm down. Ooh, you got a lot of aggression in you." And then he says, "We'll be in touch." Roy does to Varney, because he got Varney that pissed. Varney, you got 2 men that are wearing you out. For what? For what? Couldn't be me. All right, so Kimmy and Rain and them want to go to the mall, and the people that are taking them out shopping said, "Oh, we have you planned for a boutique." Their mentality hasn't shifted yet. um, Kimmy still doesn't trust it. But Kimmy and Rain, they coming up with a plan because they know possibly this isn't going to last long, that we're going to put money to the side. It's smart either way, even if you don't trust it or not. Just in case. You never know. Mallory is going outside and she finds out that she's got a new driver. And it is played by Mr. Philemon. I think his name is Chambers. His last name is Chambers. I see him on social media a lot. Yeah. So Mallory was like, "You got me a new driver? You thought I was effing Varney. Why is all of a sudden I got a new driver all of a sudden?" Um, the boy said, "Oh, I know you're not effing Varney." And how do you know that for real? Blah, 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 da, 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 da. Charles comes to see Varney, I think, at this point. But what? Not Charles and Varney. Oh, he ends up telling her that Varney is messing with Charles. So just that quickly, Roy then gave up his leverage by already telling his wife about what's going on there. I said, Lord, you are dumb. You are as dumb as they tell you that you are. I really thought that there was more potential in you, but you were just, come on, dude. Come on. So the driver, Alex and Jules. I think Jules, I can't remember the scene, how it was set up, but anyways, Alex does inform Jules that I was made their new driver. And Jules says that I need to know everything that's going on with them at all times. And Alex said, cool. I think Jules had called Alex. Then Kimmy comes outside. And Alex wants to talk with Kimmy because he wants to be given a chance to get protection also. So give him and Kimmy's like, H, no, give me a chance to prove myself, he says. So, hey, we'll see what you do, Alex, and what you don't do. So Judge Harold, that's the black stocky guy that is involved with all the money laundering and sex trafficking throughout the club. Horace, he comes to see Horace. And basically, it's to help Kimmy to get out of the situation with stealing that car with that white man in the back. And basically put it on the guy that I heard that is in jail right now. And Horace also said that your days are numbered. I said, oh my God. After he helped you out and all that good stuff, you ain't going to protect him at all. Crazy. All right. So Mallory ends up meeting with Felicia. And while Mallory is meeting with Felicia at that ghetto motel that everybody is at, she tells her everything about Jules being her pimp. Tells them about when Horace came in to rescue Kimmy and Angel and Sylvie out of the club. Mallory did pay her. And then as Mallory was leaving, Felicia was like, where are you going? I want to ride. I said, Lord Jesus. Mallory gonna say, you smell like you want to be alone. So what did that come from, Mallory? Basically, Mallory is Veronica Harrington of 2025. Just mean. And such an elitist, or yeah, you're an elitist. And classist. Like, oh my God. So the driver, Andy, who is, I call him Philemon, but his name is Andy on the show. I don't call him Philemon. That's his name in real life. The driver clues in Jules of where they're at and where Mallory wanted to be at. Mallory comes out and she sees that this dude done followed her. And she said that she wants to speak to Jules because she knows that he's on the phone with Jules and says meet her at her office. Now, Horace and Kimmy. While she's on her way to the boutique, Horace calls her. How's the house? And she said, it's great, da 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 da. Have you found Angel or spoken to Angel? And she said, no. Horace says that your problem has been handled. And she's like, oh, thank you. Horace says, you still doubt me? Like, yeah. Horace said that one day you will. Trust me. Hopefully I'm alive to see it. Sylvie wanted to get on the phone to talk with Horace. She's really taken a liking to Horace very fast. And she says that she's been researching some places in Thailand that could help you with his illness. And she wanted to know, can she send it? What she's found to him. He said, yes, have Kimmy do all that, da 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 da. Of course, at first, Horace was apprehensive to wanting to really speak with Sylvie, but hey, whatever. Jules. Okay, at the jail. Of course, Angel was arrested in the season finale of last season's season finale. And Jules is now putting Angel under interrogation to make him try to speak on the stuff that he wants. And basically, Angel stole the car, and he said, actually, no, I didn't. I was just looking at the car, and then I was arrested, da 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 da. Angel's not really speaking what Jules want him to do, so Angel was like, I want a lawyer. So then he begins to threaten Angel's citizenship. And you'll probably be sent back to, Dominican Republic. And he also threatens his child and baby mama. And at this point, Angel was changing his game. Track's son comes in. I need to know everything about Horace and Kimmy. Angel tried to flip it before Traxon came in. Angel tried to flip it and says that he knows where his daughter is. And Jules didn't take any liking to that. Angel's asking for his call, but then he sends Traxon in to go deal with Yolanda, who is Angel's baby mama and the child. Of course, Angel was ready to comply, but it was too late. All right, so the ladies, they are in the boutique, and how they're going to do things is they're going to buy 2 sets of whatever they got, keep one for themselves and sell the other one. Basically, they're still on this hustle mentality, and you don't need to do that. You have all that you need. They go to the bank, and because they wanted to see how much is actually there and all that good stuff. And they find out at the bank that Kimmy has her own account, because she was thinking, is it her account or was it set up with him, Horace, and her? No, it's yours. There's 1.5 million in the checking and 1.7 million in the savings. And then Rain says, oh, we'll take it all and give it to us in 10s and 20s. Lord, Rain, you so ghetto. You don't do that, and you can't even take it all out all at once. It would take several days for that amount of cash to actually leave the bank. Lord. So what Kimmy did instead is that she wanted to open up 2 accounts. One for Rain and one for Sylvie. And it's going to have the amount of $500K each. Alex. He promised that no one knows. Oh, Alex tells Kimmy what's going on with Angel. And he wants her to promise that no one knows it came from him. And it's that Angel was arrested. Kimmy ends up calling Horace and saying that Angel was arrested. Do you know what's going on there? And at the end of the episode, all we see is that Angel was released. And then he was in this crowd. And then all of a sudden there was this bloodbath of shooters. When we get down to the place of where Angel is, he's laying there with his eyes open. And somebody's taking a shot because they got to, as far as with their camera, so that they can show proof that Angel is not with us anymore. So it looks like heaven has gained another angel. So we got to see what's up in the next episode. I was like, dang. But anyways, that's all I got right now. Tell me what you thought of this episode. I understand you could just tell the ones that just don't, that don't have anything. Now, I've never had that type of money or whatever. Hopefully, I'd act a little bit better than how these three were or two were. Just, oh, this is nice. But when you've lived in a trailer for some of your life and got kicked out, and then you try to live in a Walmart, it's understandable. It is understandable, I guess. But Lord, just have some decorum, something. All right, so check me in episode 3, which is coming up really soon. But again, like this video, subscribe, and leave your comments. Until the next one, peace.